funky bass groove. Pop. Poppin'.
Welcome, audience members, to Conversations in Pencil, the Rough Draft. This is a podcast for anyone starting over, feeling stuck, or searching for a way forward. We're fellow travellers in the messy middle. Each week, you'll find honest conversation, a tapping practice, and one small step you can take today. You're not alone here. Every rough draft has value, including yours. My name's Nathan, and I have my co-host here, Tayla. Hello, Tayla.
Hello, everybody. Ooh, let's get pumped for this session.
So the title of this session, Healing When You're Not Fixed Yet. The messy middle.
I don't like it here, but here we are.
I don't so much enjoy the messy middle part.
No, not at all. But it's part of it.
So let's set up one of those perfect check-in moments, something that our audience could take away when they get with people that are close to them, with their friends, with their family, with their network, and we'll do this check-in. How are we arriving today? How are you going today, Tayla?
Yeah, I'm going. It's just been one of those days, if I'm going to be really, really honest. And this is what our podcast is about, honesty. Yeah, it's getting a bunch of resistance from people and some pushback, but I'm pushing through it and getting things done, and that's why I'm here today. And my energy, I'm pumping it up. I'm getting there. Well, as we get along in this, my energy will uplift and it will be fine. We'll get it done. How are you feeling, Nathan?
I'm well, which may be due to the coffee that I had before we started this podcast. But let's do a serious check-in, because this is a safe spot. And that's what we're aiming for our listeners to be, all right, let's be really honest. I'm doing well in how I am connecting with people closest to me at the moment, and that is making me feel quite calm. It's helping my nervous system, and I'm feeling okay, and I'm feeling quite conscious of the choices I'm making each day, even though they're not perfect at the moment. So I am good, and that's the metric that I'm trying to set for myself. What metric is it that I'm looking at to judge whether I'm good and well? Partially it's progress, partially it's the knowledge of the choices before I make them, rather than just following the pattern. And the parts of me that are going, yeah, I'm looking after myself, and I'm making sure that my support group is okay and we're still good. So based on all those, I'm really good. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. That's heaps good. There's always got to be one that's a little off the rails. At least Nathan's somewhat stable in this this podcast today for everybody.
Stability.
Ain't no stability in the messy middle. No, there definitely is. There definitely is some stability in it.
Why does it?
You've just got to find it.
With this messy middle, then, why does it feel like this instability at the moment? What does this look like for you to be like, oh, this is me unstable?
Oh, I guess the resistance I'm getting from everyone around me. I feel constantly this push-pull dynamic, which is something that Nathan and I will get into further along with relationships. But this push-pull dynamic of you're trying to do something to make the world a better place, and people don't always align with that, and they push back. and they give you a hard time for it. And I just feel like at the moment, it's what's making my life unstable. You know, you start to question yourself. You go, well, am I on the right track? Am I doing the right thing? You know, and then that then reflects onto childhood traumas.
Traumas in America. In Southern America,
Traumas. Oh, God. I'm just a Southern belle. Those traumas then come up. And I think that that's where this messy middle of triggers, traumas, and going through life and trying to make a change, it becomes messy and unstable. And we get unaware and unsure, and we feel kind of lost, numb. Some people feel numb. Yeah, that's how it's looking in my life right at this very moment, if I'm going to be purely honest.
I love this because it feels like it is such a big indicator that we are all going to struggle how to translate. That it's often we tend to go, I'm feeling this way, I don't like it. Should I go a different way? Should I shy away from this thing? This feeling doesn't feel good. And it's such a natural instinct for us and everyone that's around us to look at us and think, I'm seeing you experience these really uncomfortable, sometimes terrible feelings, especially if you're facing past traumas and experiences that are quite heavy to go through, process. And I can appreciate why people, even ourselves, want to protect us from that. That's quite loving. But in the greater picture of going, yeah, it's going to hurt to pull the splinter out. You really do need to get the splinters out so that can heal. And discomfort is such a good indicator at times if we can correctly translate it as, this is new, and that is what it's telling me. I am not comfortable here. I am not used to this. I don't want to do this. But is that telling me what's on the other side is good or bad for me? That's an interesting question.
Well, it's part of our conditioning too, I think. So what we've grown up with, what our parents were like, what happened to us in childhood too. So making these new leaps and bounds and different things is out of my comfort zone because, well, let's be real, as children, as a child myself, as I was told children were to be seen and not heard. You weren't allowed to speak up. You weren't allowed to be boisterous, and authentic, your authentic self. I was quite shut down. But that's due to other things that don't need to be delved right into right now. But from that conditioning, trying to take the leap out of the messy middle, or even being just in the messy middle, is really, really hard for people because of that unknown feeling of, is this right? Is it wrong? Do I shut my mouth? Do I stay quiet? Do I just act like a lady and keep my mouth shut? Or do I say something? And lately, I have been speaking up. Like, the little voice inside me cannot stay quiet anymore, and not any longer anyways. So I think it's accepting that it's okay to be in the messy middle, and it's okay to go outside of your bounds of limitations to test things, to see what's going to work for you and what's not.
I love this. And I find myself in this conversation a lot where even what you were saying with people starting to step into this messy middle and challenge what was in essence, which is kind of their foundation, what you're talking about with your childhood and the way they're built and the patterns they're used to. It's the foundation they stand upon. So they step aside into something new. And of course, it feels shaky and new, or they're the ones that are building it. So it feels really unstable. and then they start trying to take actions, where they are doing something that they don't normally do. And what's interesting is there is so much shame attached to this, because often they don't feel like they have a right to do that thing in their life. And when they start to practice it, all of that resistance comes up, which comes up in the form of, I'm not allowed, I'm ashamed that I'm this person, or they do it in a way that isn't perfect because they've never practiced it before. And then here they are looking at themselves going, oh my goodness, I should never do that again. I am not good at this. It's like, of course. When you're a baby, you didn't stand up and walk. You were quite terrible at walking. But you had to get up and fall over thousands of times before you could run around. And that is the point, to go, the pendulum's going to swing a bit back the other way. It's been unnaturally held in an imbalanced position off to one side for too long. And when it comes back and it's trying to find center, it's going to swing off in the other direction. And you are going to do things or say things, or let's say, for a very good example, to set a boundary with somebody that is going to be done not perfectly the first time. There's going to be a lot of resistance. There's going to be a lot of emotions. There's going to be shame. There's going to be, I can't do this. I'm not allowed to do this. I have to be perfect. Or I don't know the words, or I don't know how to voice it. That's perfect. That means you're going in the right direction. That's what's perfect about it. You're going in the right direction, and you are aiming to get to balance. And I'm so sorry, you're going to do things wrong for a bit.
Yeah, well, it happened to me. I did it recently for the first time, right? I set a boundary with someone and it went perfectly fine. They were reciprocal of that boundary. They understood and they accepted it, and it was great. And I was like, pure turmoil. I was like, oh my God, what have I done? I've overstepped. I've made her feel uncomfortable, which in reality I hadn't. Because she spoke to us the next day, which was fine and great and wonderful. But I shut down because I was like, I'm not allowed to do that. I'm not allowed to set this boundary. I shouldn't be telling her anything or how she should do anything in her life or how she should address me. It makes me very uncomfortable. I don't like it. And I had to actually process that. And I still, right now in this podcast, still feel awful about it. I still feel like I shouldn't have said anything. I've created a mishap. I've torn people apart. I've made other people feel uncomfortable. But at the end of the day, it was a necessary step to take as part of my healing and as part of my trusting that somebody will accept me for who I am and the boundaries that I present to them. And then I guess that's how you're going to know if these people are worth being in your life, or whether they deserve to know who you are, and whether they're going to show up, and whether they're going to give you the same respect that you give them.
I love this line of reasoning. To think, if I make adjustments and become a different person, who will I lose in my life? And it comes down to the fundamental thing. Why are we working on ourselves? Why are we looking to change something in our lives? Why are you looking to change something in your life?
Because I have come to a point in my life where I can't keep burying myself within myself no longer. It is coming out in health-wise. It's coming out in brain function. It's making me emotional. It's making me angry. It's making me sad. And in the long run, it's just not healthy. And to keep compiling your emotions and suffocating yourself, you're just going to keep burying yourself into a grave that you'll never get yourself out of. And it comes to a time where you've got to put your hand up and go, I don't need to change who I am, but I need to start healing those parts of me that need to be healed to be able to live a fulfilling life filled with the right people, the right company, the right the right respectful people around you, and building connections that are secure and happy and safe spaces for you to be in, rather than having these relationships that are tumultuous, up and down, filled with, oh, do they love me, do they not love me, or is she my friend, is she not my friend? Rather than having to worry about that all the time, find the worthy people that you should be around to help you grow and be a better person. And those people will accept those boundaries because they're willing to be in your life.
Now, this is so interesting because it brings us to a number of ideas that if I change some sort of input, then the output is going to be different in my life. My experience is going to be different. I am currently looking at my life and discovering that there are things I'm experiencing in my life I do not like and I want to change. So there's a level of acceptance to kind of go, all right, what part am I playing in creating this in my life? How can I cope with that first? Where a lot of things are going to come up when you start to feel like, okay, I'm going to take responsibility for everything in my life. And it gives you great power to start going, what steps can I take in the input section that I can change? And then, of course, like you're saying, you might lose some people in this movement, but also part of that is kind of accepting that perhaps what this feeling that I'm not enough is telling you is what you're putting in or what you're accepting is not enough to create in your life what you dream or wish or desire. And that's a really hard truth to start to face, because it's really painful to realize that parts of our pain was within our power and our choice, even if it was at a subconscious level.
Because we feel comfortable. It's what we're used to. It's what we succumb to because we're used to it. It's normal for us living living this way in turmoil. Peace to me is such a foreign subject. As soon as I start to feel peace, I panic. Because I'm like, this is not... Why is no one yelling at me? Why is there no loud footsteps around? Why am I not... you become hyper-focused on all the things that you think are going to go wrong. And then the things that naturally go wrong throughout a day or a week become big things that have gone wrong because you've searched for them. And I think Nathan and I were talking about in a couple of days ago or something about raising your vibrations. So when you start raising your vibrations and start looking at life in a different way and start setting these boundaries and making these movements, people are going to bounce on and off you. And you might feel a bit lonely. You might feel a bit, what's going on? These people are not hanging around. But that's because you're raising your vibration levels, which are essentially weeding out the people that are not good for you, essentially, that are feeding you bad habits and feeding this ideology of not being at peace. There's something about them that's drawing you in that you feel is safe, but it's not safe for your development.
I think this is actually an incredible step to notice this idea, this feeling that a lot of us experience, perhaps you yourselves have too, of not feeling like we're enough, almost creates an environment that we can participate in ourselves to allow ourselves to be treated where it reinforces this idea that we're not enough. And I believe very strongly in boundaries being a cure for healing this I'm not enough. It's like, this is not okay treatment. This does not feel good. And I'm not talking about discomfort or things that are new. I'm talking about truly, and you've looked into, and this is harmful for me. And this is not something I will support, because that confirms the belief I'm not enough to even deserve a friend or family member or support network or job or whatever it is. I'm not enough to deserve that. That truly has to change. Is there a time where this has changed recently for you?
Yeah, I feel like in many things, past relationship that just ended, and in work, this has happened in work quite a lot. I lost my train of thought again. Nathan.
Yeah, so we're talking about the situations where you start to stand up to the belief of not being enough by creating boundaries in your life so that you're no longer supporting that. And is there situations where you've seen that you're like, okay, this not enough feeling, I'm no longer supporting that in my life?
Yeah, which was when I ended the relationship with my ex. It's probably the biggest pinnacle moment for me, and it is something that probably be talked about in this podcast, not in depth, but sort of my side of it. And I still will always wish them well. I've got no bad feelings towards them or anything like that. But that was a pinnacle moment for me where I couldn't sit there any longer and feel like I wasn't enough for somebody. So then I had to set a boundary and walk away.
Mm.
And for someone like me, that is huge to do, because I believe, or people like me with an anxious attachment style, believe that we are not worthy, and we feel like we're not enough, and we seek outside validation to help heal those wounds that were inflicted on us in childhood through certain patterns and being and all that stuff. We don't feel like we have the right to go, no, this is not for me, I'm going to choose myself. It's terrible ground to be in. You don't want to do it. I fought myself for months trying to be like, no, if I just do this, it'll be better. If I just do that, it'll sort it out. At the end of the day, I feel like I had to go, no, I can't do this anymore. I need to walk away and choose myself. And yeah, that put me in the messy middle that I'm in right now.
Mm.
It did. But there are days when I look back on that and I go, holy crapola, I'm so glad that I did that. I'm so glad that I chose myself and said, no, I'm not going to put myself in this position anymore where I'm feeling like absolute death, and my body is rejecting everything about this relationship. But that was a boundary I set.
Mm.
And they chose not to follow me on the path. And you know what? That's okay.
Mm.
That is something that they will have to heal within themselves and grow from. And I hope that they do.
Mm.
But I also appreciate it because it taught me that it's okay to choose myself and be stuck in this messy middle.
Mm. What a wonderful thought that relationships are a catalyst and an offer for each party to make the choice to grow as a result of the friction between each of you. Like, isn't that the most wonderful benefit of relationships? Not pleasant often, which leads me to think of that, which is really a good reframe for the middle isn't failure. This messy bit that you get cast into, that's where it's truly happening now. The change is truly happening. You've accepted it. Even though that relationship ended, so you've still accepted that offer to go, I'm actually going to grow. And part of my growth is to make an offer for you to also grow with me together in this relationship. And if you don't, I will no longer sacrifice myself and look to you as though I need to see if you are going to tell me I'm enough. I'm going to tell me I'm enough. And I'm going to throw myself into this unstable middle, which you're too not in a position to do yet. That's okay. I'm going to do it. That means we end, and it means I'm not failing. I'm putting myself in a position of growth. And it's not great because it's dark and terrible, and I love the saying, sometimes when things are so dark, it's not that we've been ended, or it's not that we've been buried, or it's a similar saying. I wish I could remember the perfect word, but the thing is, sometimes when you're surrounded by darkness, it's not the end. You've been planted. And if you just hold on for long enough and keep going, eventually you're going to come out of the soil and you're like, oh, I didn't realize I was planted. I planted myself in fertile soil, and I just had some growing before I could get into the sunlight again and truly reach for the good things, the amazing parts, the top of the trees. Well,
Yeah, that's really beautiful.
isn't that lovely?
Yeah, that's really, really beautiful.
Mm.
It's a nice way to look at it. And Nathan and I often talk about tending to the gardens of our minds with a gate that we imagine that people can freely sort of walk in and out of, and you get to be the controller who says whether people can stay and tend your garden with you, or whether people can sort of just go, okay, you're not for me, there's the gate, toddle on, toot toot toot, and then we go back to tending our gardens. So I think this correlates really well with the messy middle, because this is what we're trying to learn to do. We're trying to tend to our gardens in our minds and feed those necessary parts to help our flowers grow and allow us to let people in who will also plant seeds and tend to our flowers.
Mm-hmm. I love this image of your boundaries being that gate that you can open and close and choose who's allowed to come in and out. Even if people are in, that you can say, no, you don't get to stay here and trample all over my preciously cared for garden. And your garden is very much your inner soul. It's your inner child. It's your sacred paths. It's the beauty and the healthy, happy parts of you that you are putting energy in to grow something beautiful. So you can become a person who comes into the world and brings beautiful things to contribute to others. You can bring the flowers. If someone came in and started, twisting and mangling your plants so that they weren't growing as well as they could, you truly wouldn't want them to stay in there.
But I think another good way to look at it too is, if someone comes into your garden and disrupts it and destroys it and tramples on your flowers, as Nathan just said, I think it's imperative to, if there's significant people in your life, or there have been significant people in your life, is to allow them to take a flower with them as a reminder of as a reminder of the significance that you played in their life, and for them to maybe hopefully look at that flower and go, wow, that person taught me a lot about myself.
Oh, I love this.
And maybe plant that flower in their own minds so that they too can start their own gardens, which I think is what Nathan and I are trying to do with this, with you guys, with the listeners, and hopefully we can give you guys some flowers to plant into your minds that will start growing your own gardens, and you start to feel a bit better each day.
I love this. Taking something that hurt, seeing the benefit, and paying that forward to others. And then perhaps they can get to a point where they start to look at themselves, and maybe this is our audience can ask themselves this question too, is what part of your personal healing feels unfinished? Where are these areas that you're looking around your garden and thinking, oh, that needs some tenderness, that needs some attention and care? And then to take it further. What does it mean to accept this stage of jumping into the messy middle, and to not rush it, to like truly take a moment and spend some wonderful time in this natural environment of you, your unique self, your inner self. You are so desperately needed in this world. Look after yourself. Not throw everyone out, just like start truly looking after these internal things. Start healing these things. And accept that let's not rush it. You are also nature. You are also one of the most wonderful, unique beings that we need. You are connected to all of us. There's an incredible study that I had started thinking of about, I'm not too sure, I think it was the Chinese people who discovered this connection in the brain very recently, that every human on the planet was connected in a quantum physics level, and they were able to prove this in experiment, which is incredible to me, that we are all in some way linked and affect each other, and how good it is to realize that we need to look after ourselves, not just for us or even our future children or even our immediate circle, but for everyone. And you get the benefits. Let's truly take care of ourselves and responsibility for ourselves, and really make something amazing for yourself and everyone else. Start that podcast today. Do it today. Record it on your phone. Find someone who's got a phone that you can use. Use what you've got. Take that step today. Follow along today. We're going to do some tapping in a minute. Follow along right now. Have that thought. Write that note. Hand someone else a flower. This happened to Tayla recently. It was a wonderful story. Perhaps you could share this when you were doing in the nail salon and someone came in.
Oh yeah, that was wildly hard to accept. Yeah, I was sitting in the nail salon and I was getting my nails done, and I was just sitting there, and there was a bunch of other ladies in there as well, and I'm just sitting there thinking about life, pondering my thoughts, trying to get these lovely women to hurry up because they take forever. No, God bless them. And this woman just tapped me on the shoulder, and she was like, here's a $20 voucher. I just wanted to pay some kindness forward and give you a $20 voucher. And I'm looking at her like, oh God, please not me. Like, thank you so much, but please not me. Like, there's so many other people in here that deserve this. What are you doing? And I was just like, no, you take it. She's like, no. I just wanted to do an act of kindness, and I've chosen you. And I was like, oh my God, thank you so much. That was beautiful. And it was lovely. And then I sat there filled with shame
Mm.
because I was like, oh my god, like do I accept this? Do I give it to the person next to me? Am I allowed to have this as a gift? And then I think the worst part was a family came in with a little girl, and I was looking at her and I was like, ooh, should I give them the $20? And I think it was the first time that I was like, no, I was given this gift and I'm gonna use it, and I'm gonna treat myself with this extra $20 off for this session. And that was huge for me, because usually I'd be like palming this thing off and being like, oh no, don't choose me, like I don't deserve it.
Mm.
But I didn't. It was a small thing, but I chose myself. And then it actually made me think, like, wouldn't it be lovely to go through McDonald's and pay for someone's order? Or, just show an act of kindness to somebody else. And I think that that's a wonderful concept for somebody that could be having a bad day, and then someone comes in with their flour and they give it to you, and it's just like, wow, that's beautiful. And I think more people in the world should be doing that, because it's just those small gestures that make people's day just that little bit like easier.
And I think this is my favourite part of that story, is that as hard as it was to accept, it was almost immediate. Your desire to share such a wonderful thing with someone else. And I like to imagine that the First Lady had someone do something lovely for her and then was looking for another way to hand a flower to someone. And these are the types of wonderful things that you see on social media that feels inspiring. And I'm okay with not... I love that we get to see it on social media, but I'm okay of doing these quietly even. Not having to film it, but just searching for somebody to think, oh, I could truly brighten this person's day in this moment, and taking that leap. And how many people you could affect as a result of that.
Yeah, so my ex-partner, they did wonderful things like that, which was really inspiring and beautiful. Like he would go and... I think it's a great concept that we can go and give feminine hygiene products and stuff to the homeless women who need hygiene products and things that we are so easily accessible to get, and create a bag for them. And he would do all sorts of wonderful things like that. And then I think once it happened to me, I really saw the value and the benefit of being someone who gives back as much as they can. And those little, like, imagine paying for somebody's meal who has just had the most horrific day of their entire lives, and by paying for their meal you could have just saved them from
oh my goodness,
whatever could have happened, or seeing that, doing that thing that you sort of might feel a bit odd about, like donating to charities and stuff like that. I still think it's a great concept, and you're trying to do it for a better cause. So it just sparks that little bit of society. We're still all in this together. Like we're not alone. There are people out there that are willing to still be kind and nurturing and offer those bits of the flowers of their minds to you, to keep tending to your mind and know that it's okay.
I love this. Don't forget, you are one of the people you can give to too. You can do this for yourself. And it is, imagine how many stories we're not aware of that exist in the world that will literally trigger those internal emotions, where we get to experience and watch, and the mirror neurons go off in the brain, and we get the same rush of feelings that the person did in giving it, that the person got in receiving it, and think, wow, how much we could... It reminds me of stories that I've heard of, in the perfect moment, someone in an oncology ward needed just a little bit of kindness. And that kept them going for just the next hour. And that is a huge thing when you have a child in an oncology ward, to be able to help someone go for one more hour. That's very, very, very life-changing in the heaviest moments. And it's okay, you might not be in a position to do that. And perhaps you can just start with something little. What could our listeners say, share in a comments section online about a story that someone can read and feel inspired by and feel joy from? What can you perhaps do if you're in a position that won't put you in a position of where it's not good? Don't go out and overgive and give everything away. Ensure that you are looking after yourself, because you are important too. You are worthy too. You are somebody that is enough and is needed. Don't forget yourselves, but perhaps we can make that movement. Where can we look today? This is part of the reason at the moment I use tapping for people, and why I'd like to offer this to you right now, for you to tap along. I have my own tapping Instagram. It's called The Unarmored Man, as in the knight who take their armor off. The Unarmored Man. And I post tapping videos. And I'm slowly growing this content for the purpose of people being able to follow along, that can tap on these specific points in their body to send signals to the mechanisms in the brain that control this fight, flight, or fawn response. It switches and takes over, and we no longer have as much access to our logical processes, and we simply react. It's the incredible mechanism that causes us to snatch our hand away when a dog tries to bite us. It's the incredible mechanism that makes us run and flee and jump and lift heavy things when we're in a panicked state and our body just responds. Our entire body aligns and we have access to incredible amounts of power. The concern is there are emotional things, which we call triggers, that we've become accustomed to, even traumas that exist, which is something that just stays in the body to remind us of dangerous things. And sometimes we lean on them, and we've all heard about these things, where someone who's been to, say, war has a flashback. Something happens that reminds them of a situation that they are in. They feel threatened. They reach a level that this part of the brain takes over, and they respond accordingly. Only if it's something that not is what they had perceived, then they may overreact, or their body may stay in this state. And the effects on the body are extreme, especially when you stay in this state for long periods, because they're meant for very short periods of time to deal with a very serious, life-threatening situation. And when you stay there, it can cause very long-term damage within the body, and an inability to even take in information, to process information, to think clearly. And we become accustomed to this state of stress. Now, tapping on these nerve clusters in the body, the electrical circuits that run through your body and just send messages to and from all of your different organs, and muscles and everything that in your body just connects everything. We can tap on specific points while focusing on specific psychological elements, and in essence bring these triggers to the surface and turn down the mechanism's response like a dimmer switch so that it no longer responds so intensely, or we no longer stay in this state for too longer periods. So you're welcome to come and have a look at my videos. I will continue producing more. Today I've made a video for today's script. I call them scripts, and all that means is I've made a video and I get you to follow along. The points on the body, it's worth having a look at the videos online to tell where the points are, but I'll use the shorthand names for them today. And we can go through that script now, and I'm going to do it with Tayla as you tap along. And we're going to do it on this messy middle, these unfixed parts. And we'll tap on through and pay attention to how it feels in the body. Pay attention to what rises to the surface. Tayla's done this before. What was your experience like?
Oh, it becomes very overwhelming. It is an overwhelming experience, but it is also a very calming and generous sort of feeling of relaxedness. You feel relaxed after it, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
Can't English today.
Mm-hmm.
But it gives you that feeling of relief and you feel relaxed. And I find that when I do it, I become quite tired. I'll yawn a lot. Sometimes you'll cry because things are coming to the surface that need to come out. But that's all accepted, and Nathan is really good at facilitating that and letting you know that it's okay to have these feelings. And it's okay to yawn, and it's okay to just relax and breathe. It resets your whole nervous system. And it's, if you can do it long term and really just give it a go, it'll be so beneficial for everyone listening. And I also recommend this to anyone listening who's having a really tough time trying to survive the day. Yeah.
Lovely. So, without further ado then, if we start tapping there on that karate chop and repeat after me, even though I'm not fixed yet.
I'm not fixed yet.
I deeply and completely
love
and accept myself. Even though I'm not fixed yet. I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Even though I'm not fixed yet. I deeply and completely love and accept myself. On top of the head, I feel frustrated. In the eyebrow, I don't feel done yet. I keep waiting to feel complete. Under the eye, sometimes I wonder if I'll ever get there. Under the nose, this part of healing feels slow. In the chin, this messy middle feels uncomfortable. Soft fist on the collarbone. I want to skip ahead to the after story. Under the arm, but right now it's still in progress. And the two wrists together, I'm frustrated and behind. On top of the head, and maybe that's okay.
And maybe that's okay.
On the eyebrow. What if I don't fully need to be healed to have value?
What if I don't fully need to be healed to have
On
value?
the side of the eye. What if my story matters even now?
What if my story matters even now?
Under the eye. Healing is not a straight line.
Healing is not a straight line.
Under the nose. And I'm allowed to be in progress.
And I'm allowed to be in progress.
On the chin. The messy middle is still part of the journey.
The messy middle is still part of the journey.
On the collarbone. I'm learning, growing and shifting.
I'm learning, growing and shifting.
Under the arm. One step at a time.
One step at a time.
And the two wrists together. And that's enough today.
And that's enough today.
On top of the head. I wish I was further along.
I wish I was further along.
On the eyebrow. I choose to honour where I am.
I choose to honour where I am.
The side of the eye. To breathe into this space.
To breathe into this space.
Under the eye. To release some pressure to be fixed.
To release some pressure to be fixed.
Under the nose. I'm not broken. I'm becoming.
I'm not broken, I'm becoming.
On the chin. Healing happens in layers.
Healing happens in layers.
On the collarbone. I can soften into this moment.
I can soften into this moment.
Under the arm. I can find safety here.
I can find safety here.
The two wrists together and trust that my journey is unfolding as it should.
I trust my journey is unfolding as it should.
Then take a deep breath. Very good. So the thought to take away is, even in this messy middle, each of us is enough. Our stories matter. And healing is happening. How do you feel, Tayla?
Yeah, I feel pretty relaxed after that. I think one last thing I'd like to say is that you're not stuck in the messy middle. It's not a matter of being halted or stopped. It's that you're starting to grow. So I think that that's really important and something that you should take away from this. Our audience should take away from this podcast today. Yeah.
So, for the step this week for people, perhaps they can name an area in their life where they're in progress. Instead of hiding it, to honour it. Share it with a trusted confidant. Write it down. Maybe whisper it to yourself out loud. Maybe look in the mirror and say it. To simply say, this is where I am and it's okay. And accept you. Like we're accepting ourselves. And like we accept you.
Mm-hmm. Until next time.
Remember, the beauty of life is that you can always erase, redraw, and keep creating. Thank you for joining us, everybody, and Tayla.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Nathan. I look forward to hearing from everybody in the comments.
Me too.
Okay, bye guys.
Bye, guys.
Sliding, playful and quirky. Brass punches, sharp and perky. Baseline dances.